Hello everyone, this is your good friend, Old Man Sitting on a Bench, and this is part 2 of my Easter series on identifying what the real sayings were of Jesus in the Gospels. It's a really fascinating topic because we have so much in the Gospels and trying to decipher what did Jesus really say or what was put in afterwards as a story. And today in part 2 I just want to talk about how the Gospels came to be. And because it's a very important part of trying to decipher what parts are really Jesus' words. And again, I want to just say I am not a professional minister, pastor, priest, whatever. I'm a lay person, but I have an interest in this, and really is an interesting area to look at. So after Jesus was crucified, all that existed really was oral tradition that was passed around between the different churches and what have you. And the other literature or scripture was from St. Paul, the letters of St. Paul, which came out in the 50s, not that long after Jesus had died, 20 years or so, and that was moving around in the communities. So eventually the original apostles were dying off, and the people who were in charge of the church decided we better write this all down so that we have a proper record that we can continue to pass to the churches in the future. And the Gospel of Mark is believed to be the first gospel written, sometime around 70 A.D. or so, and that gospel was transmitted amongst the churches around in the Christian community. And the other gospels, Luke and Matthew, were written after Mark, is what the consensus is. And they used Mark as a template. And they embodied into this template of Mark what their oral traditions were that they had within their church communities. But Luke and Matthew also had another source of material called what we call in the academic world Q, like the letter Q. And what that represented was a group of sayings that Jesus had shared with this apostle. So someone had written them all down in this document called Q, and we don't have it anymore. It's gone. It's lost. So when Luke and Matthew created their gospel, they took the template of Mark and they added in these sayings from Q into their Gospels. So by analyzing the differences between Mark, Matthew, and Luke, we can pull out things that are in Matthew and Luke but are not in Mark. And that is the basis how we can determine, okay, what came from Q, the source of Q, which are the sayings of Jesus. And we can kind of decipher and say these sayings, these scripture readings are probably very truthfully represented as what Jesus said. Now, the Gospel of John is another situation where it was developed independent of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. And we can't really compare them that easily. But Mark, Matthew, and Luke are what we call synoptic journals, Gospels, because they are all connected. They all have the same storyline. So they're called the synoptic gospels. So I just wanted to go through that, how they were formed. Now, in my next episode, part 3, I'm going to start talking about what do these sayings say? What kind of sayings can we actually go back and say this is probably what Jesus actually said? It's very exciting. And I hope you'll stay with me and continue on to part 3. And then we'll keep going right up to Easter if we can. So thank you very much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And God bless.